Hi everyone, this is Anita Craig, the founder of Flow and the inaugural Master Leader Program. And today we have with us here on Zoom, Adam Craker, the CEO of IQ Business. Welcome, Adam.
Hello, Anita. Great to be with you.
What has really stood out for me, and I think one of the main reasons why we approached you to come and collaborate with us on the Master Leader Program, is this heartfelt reach out to people in genuine need and the sense of business being a force for good. And on that note, maybe you can just share a little bit about your journey this year and what it is that compelled you to step forward in this way.
COBRA is one of the products of this very, very tough environment in which we're seeing so many enterprises, so many individuals in a distressed state. Unfortunately, I think the reality is that we are all in a distressed state of some degree at this point. And when we began to see what was beginning to unfold, I think from the benefit of hindsight, we saw three different responses that were happening in society to the situation. And if I may, I'll use a metaphor which probably is a bit unfortunate in many ways, but the metaphor is that imagine that you're driving along a busy highway, and in the distance you see the brake lights and the hazard lights that are flashing, and as you approach, you see that the most dreadful road accident has just happened, and you are one of the first vehicles to arrive on the scene. And that metaphor really represents the crisis, the health crisis that has occurred this year. And there are three responses to that. The first response is to put your car into reverse as quickly as possible and exit the highway at the first available exit point. The second response is simply to freeze and look and observe and wait for somebody else to respond. And the third reaction is simply, almost before you've stopped your vehicle, just fling the door open, get the seatbelt off, and run towards the problem, to go and see what you can do to be of assistance to those that are injured or in the crisis. So, and I have to tell you that from a personal perspective, from a business perspective, I don't think it was a choice. It was just a natural reaction, because we launched COBRA 2 days before the commencement of lockdown, and we went live with COBRA on the first day of lockdown. And when I think back to making that decision and then creating the enterprise, I'm not sure that we were really thinking a great deal. We were just responding to the situation that was there.
Thank you for sharing that. It's such a powerful analogy, which I think majority of people globally can relate to, in one shape or form or the other. What are your thoughts? What are you seeing going ahead as being some of the needs that leaders, organizations, communities at large are going to be facing with and having to navigate?
Let's imagine that the health crisis, the global health crisis, the pandemic, is actually an earthquake, or let's call it a health quake, because what we've seen unfold from the start of this year, February, March, when the initial news was really coming through of what had developed in China and was now beginning to transfer around the world. So the epicenter, we know, of this terrible health quake, we know where that was, and the tremors have been far-reaching. We are now at a stage where those tremors are continuing. We're now in some countries in the second or third or even predicting the fourth tremor or wave of the upsurge in the health crisis. And in South Africa, we're beginning to see that in the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape. And the predictions of what's about to happen over the summer holidays, let's remember that we observed what happened in Europe and the US in their summer holidays as they came through their winter of COVID-19. And we all lose our heads a little bit. We are all desperate to go away for a vacation, and off we go. But the challenge is that that's going to exacerbate the health crisis. We know that. Nothing has changed in the health crisis. We just know a little bit more about it. The vaccines are not here yet. The treatment regimes have improved, so survivability has improved, but the infection rate is going to really expand. So if I can combine my metaphor that the health crisis is a health quake, then the economic crisis is a tsunami that results from the health quake. And we are at a stage in our economic crisis at this point where, if you imagine this tsunami, the effect that is following from the tremors and the situation is that we're actually at a stage where the tide is going out, that the wave of destruction has not yet hit. So we really have to take seriously the phase that we're in. Firstly, if you've ever watched the videos of a tsunami where the tide rapidly starts to go out, people, as human nature, are drawn to the beach to go and look, go and see the spectacle. So the fish on the seafloor itself, look at this, isn't this amazing? Well, that's the wrong reaction. And in fact, so many of our South Africans are heading off to the coast over the holidays because they're desperate to get to the coast. So off they go to the coast. And that's the wrong place to go to. It's the wrong phase. We need to be heading for high ground at this point. We need to be gathering everybody together. We need to be collaborating, clear the beaches, clear the coastline, get to high ground, because we believe from a COBRA perspective that the wave of destruction is going to hit after the summer holidays in Q1 and Q2 of next year. That's when we're going to really see the impact on our economy, on our small, medium, and micro enterprises, so many of which are in distress at this point, and large scale enterprises that are having to cut back and curtail and contain the situation in terms of our recessionary cycle, and indeed prepare for what looks like the prospect of an economic depression in South Africa, remembering that we were not in a fit state economically prior to the health crisis, and we really have seen a significant shock to the system in our economy in South Africa as a result. So that's the reality I think that we are facing, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But that's what we're preparing for at this point.
Being a South African who is here and committed to being here and growing this program, it's for that very, very reason that you're speaking to there, that we're doing this. We're saying to people, come on this 9-month immersion journey with the top pick of our luminaries, our CEOs who are transformational leaders in their own rights, of South African companies who are doing their bit to really make the shift from the darkest hour before the dawn to make the dawn possible, and to shift in consciousness, and it takes this effort, it takes this chutzpah. But I say to people who are on board in this program, I say to them, this program has been born here in South Africa, but it's actually made for the world. It's a global program because it's got humanity and consciousness at the heart of it, which is going to uplift and transform any environment that you find yourself in. But there's something special about it being born here in Africa, because I think it carries this essence, this energy that you're speaking to and pointing to there, Adam. So thank you for raising that. That's the endeavor.
Well, it's so. I mean, to align with what you're saying, Anita, that's the concept of future leaders of the world. That that there is a desperate need for talent and capability and a new perspective on things, not only in our marketplace in South Africa or on our continent in Africa, which has a demographic advantage that the rest of the world absolutely doesn't have at this point. And look at what we've exported over time in terms of effective businesses, whether we're the best beer brewing business in the world, which is now owned by the Americans, or we are leaders in behavioral economics with the Discovery Vitality program, which is now affecting hundreds of millions of people around the world in terms of how that operates, or whether we've created the world's largest ICT Cisco network organization in the form of Dimension Data, or there are countless examples. This funny little economy, let's face it, we're a tiny economy in South Africa. We produce world leadership in areas that the rest of the world is absolutely blown away by, that I honestly don't think that we appreciate enough ourselves, that we actually understand the magic that comes from this environment. And we have the potential to be the future leaders of the world in terms of the role that we play, the understanding that we have, not only in the business sense, but really, I think, in terms of leading the charge in so many different dimensions. And I hope we can improve our performance from a governance and government perspective, because if we don't, we just become a laughing stock of the world if we don't sort that out and put that into play.
Well, here's a call out then to government and the public sector. Come and join us on this program and shift and come be part of contributing and making the difference out there. It takes every individual to be on this journey to make that collective difference. Yeah, it's a movement. It's a movement, and we're building momentum by collaborating. And it's been a delight having you join us here today, Adam. Thank you.
Well, Anita, the feeling's mutual, and believe me, we're actually delighted to have you on board in the COBRA ecosystem, and believe that is really going to be pivotal, I think, in many of the conversations and the direction that we're taking in dealing with the economic crisis. So thank you very much for the time together and the opportunity to talk to you today, and really enjoyed the conversation myself.
Thank you, Adam. We'll speak again. All the best.